This video explains adding and editing your resources section. And your resources section covers your videos, blogs, case studies, literature, articles, or photos. Keep in mind that all these titles are editable. However, on the back end in the CMS, when you go to find that content, it will still be called case studies or literature or articles. But you can call these what you want. You can call them, if there's some sort of service documentation, you can do that, and you're able to create different versions of them as long as they're assigned to an industry sector. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, we're looking at the Lindsay Turkey site, and Lindsay Turkey is going to have both an irrigation solutions and a transportation solutions section, each of which are indicated in the CMS as industry sectors. Okay, so to do that, I went to Content, Edit for the Irrigation Solutions landing page. And under your Metadata tab, you have the option to assign a section as an industry sector. And that does a couple things. One, it allows you to have multiple resources sections. So you can assign different resources. You could have case studies for an industry and a transportation. You could create a third one or fourth one industry sector if you wanted to, and have other resource sections as well. You only need to assign at one level. So if you have an irrigation solutions page, assign it to industry sector, and when you're going in and assigning other content to associate with that industry sector, there will be an option that you pick here, and I'll show you that when we start adding case studies. Okay, when you add industry sectors, it's going to do one of two things, like I said. One, it's going to allow you to have different resources sections. It's also going to add checkbox options on your contact form. So right now there's two industry sectors selected for the irrigation solutions and transportation solutions at this level on each one of these pages. So that generated those checkboxes. These are optional questions on your contact form. So if you do add other ones, say you do it at product categories or product brands, it's going to add these checkboxes as well to your contact form. Okay, I'm going to go back to the resources section, and right now I have irrigation solutions is the landing page, and I have it as I'm going to go to content edit. I have that as a list page, and remember, if you set something as a list page, it's going to display all the subpage nav items. So here under irrigation solutions, under resources, it's going to have blog, case studies, and let me show you. So here we'll have all that. If you have main images, you can add those as well to show up here. If you don't want this to list those subsections, just change it back. I'm going to the Content Edit button for the main Industry Solutions page under Resources. Just change it back to a default text to images page. However, under your Metadata tab, because I want all my resources to associate with the Irrigation Solutions Resources section, I'm going to click the Irrigation Solutions option under Associate Subcontent with, this is the drop down there. Okay, now here you can see I have videos, blog, case studies, literature, articles, and photos. We covered videos in another training, so please be sure to watch that. It's on the YouTube channel. But all your resources have the options for categories. In this particular scenario, they're all assigned to category 2, and whenever you add a category, it's going to pull in a drop-down option on the filter by, so your users can filter by what the category, and it'll just display those. Let me show you a better example here. On the case studies page, there are two different categories here. There's test category 3 and category 2. So it's going to do one of two things. It's going to display them under their categories, and it's also going to have those filter by options in this drop down here. So if I just wanted to see all the category 3 ones, it's only going to display that. And I can go back and see just category 2 ones or all, and it'll display all those again. Your categories are optional, and they're universal across all your resources. Okay, and let me show you how to add a category. Now remember to bring back my edit buttons and my CMS menu. I hit escape. And you can edit your category right on the page if you wanted to change the name, if you wanted to copy it and then rename it to another one. You can do it all here. So when we look at this page, the case studies page, I have 4 different content edit options here. I have the first one, overlaying case studies title. That's for the case studies page. I have another one, overlaying the category. That's to edit the category or copy and make a new one. I have the edit option for the actual case study. Then I have another one for another category, so it's actually 5. And then I have another content button to edit the next case study. Okay? So to add or edit categories, like I said, you can simply copy them here. Or you can go to the back end under Do Stuff. And under Content, either go to Resources, Add Resource Category, or under Find, which is also under Content, I go to Resources and Resource Category. You can see I have 3 test categories set up here. I can click on another one, and it's a simple CMS edit screen. You just put in the title, test category 4, and then the sort. Now sort is the order that it's going to display on the page. So this is where you order your different categories, how they will display on the page. So if you want a certain, let's say you have a category for pivots and you're assigning different resource types to them, like case studies. If you wanted those pivots to show up first, that category, you would make it 1 or 10, however you sort. We do recommend that you sort in intervals of 10. So for 1, 2, 3, 4, it'd be 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, through this same Do Stuff interface, I can go in and add photos, videos, case studies, articles, and literature. Now remember that these titles can be changed, but in the back end they'll always be called case study literature, but if you want to call them different things, you can do that. So I can either go to Do Stuff, Content, Add a particular case study or resource, or photo, article, or I can go to Find under Content, down under Resources, and I'm going to go find all my case studies. Okay, so you can see there's a bunch of test ones here. Your site came, the menus were set up to have these test ones. You can simply edit existing test content on your site to have new ones. You can delete these. You can batch delete by going in and clicking on delete, and then do selected, where I can click all these and delete them. But you might as well just edit existing ones, or you can even copy existing ones and edit those too. Another way to add a case study is simply just to click the Add Case Study button here. Now you'll see that I have a title field. We'll say let's call it Case Study Test 6, and the order that I want it to display, we'll say 60. Industry sector, I want this to be to show up under my irrigation solutions. Now remember, if you don't have 2 different sections like this, irrigation solutions or transportation solutions or any industry sector, you can just leave this blank and you'll have just one resources section and they'll all show up on that one resources section that you have, whether it's a case studies, photos, videos. And I'll show you how that looks on the Zomatic site after we go through and add these. Okay, so I'm going to assign this to transportation solutions, and then I can pick a category. If you don't want it to be categorized, you don't even have to use these categories. You can just leave them all blank and it'll just all show up on the page, or you can go in and do the categories. I just added test category 4, so I'm going to do that. And since that's a new category, this is going to be my first case study under that. I'm going to just say 10. The abstract is what shows up on that case studies landing page. Okay, so the content, excuse me, is what will show up if you have a details page. So if I'm on the case studies landing page and I see a list of case studies, you have the option to click into a more detailed case study page. I would highly recommend this for SEO purposes. I know some of your case studies are longer in PDF form, so maybe you want to take it and do a like a smaller abbreviated version of it, just to get some of that content so it's indexable by search engines. That's probably keyword rich content that you want your public to see and search engines to access. You don't have to have a details page though, and if you upload a PDF, there's a PDF field, and you don't put any content in here, then when a user clicks on the case study title, it's just going to open up that PDF. So for this one, I'm not going to have it, just to show you how that works. And this works for your literature, your articles, as well, and case studies, that where you can just have it open in a PDF. Or you can have a combination of the content and a PDF if you want. You have a thumbnail, that's the image that's going to show up on that case studies page. Alright, if you do a details page, you can go in and add sidebars if you want. Your metadata, we're going to talk about that in another training, but I highly recommend that you use this. Alright, and then you have an image thumbnail, which it will compress to meet these dimensions, but those are the dimensions that it shows up on the page that were spec'd in the designs that we received. Alright, I'm going to go in and just put this sample logo image in. Okay, remember this is a Transportation Solutions case study. I'll close out of my Do Stuff interface, and I'm going to go under Transportation Solutions, Case Studies, and you can see I have my new category 4, and because this sort numbers, this is 10 and this must be a higher sort number, so it's showing up above this one. Okay, so you can see this one now. Instead of, now it's opening up that PDF because I put in a PDF. Now, like I said, you can also have them where they have a details page and also an option for both. So if you put content in that content field, now you have a case study details page where it also has the option to download the PDF as well. Okay, so this is how this is going to work exactly the same for your case studies, your literature, and your articles. Your blog is a little different, and we'll talk about that in a second. And your photos and videos are a little different too, but we've already gone through videos in another training. Before we jump into the blog and the photos, I want to show you what this will look like when there's not an industry sector assigned or industry sectors assigned. And my example here is Zematic. So back to Lindsay Turkey, remember we have a resources section, and we have an irrigation solutions and a transportation solutions. And these have been, this irrigation solutions and this transportation solutions have been assigned as industry sectors. And when I created these irrigation solutions under resources and transportation solutions sections, I assigned them in the industry drop box where you can go in and associate it with irrigation and transportation. And then for each content type that you add, you also associate it with whether it's an irrigation solutions or a transportation solutions resource type. Okay, now on the Zematic, however, they just have one resources section. So when you go in, and let's go actually under case studies here. Okay, so you can see here that under the metadata tab that there's no options for an industry or any industry sector. So there's no irrigation, there's no transportation. That's because none of the content has been assigned as an industry sector. So there's just one resources section for now. All right. And we're going to go back to the content, and whenever you add something like this, you want to make sure that it's a resource list. So if it's a case studies page, set it as a resource list, and then under the metadata tab, make sure you assign it the correct, whether it's a case study, literature, article, photo, or video. Make sure. If you're going in and you're finding that you're adding case studies and they're not showing up couple troubleshooting things to try. One, go to that metadata tab for the case studies landing page and make sure that the resource type is set to case study. And if you do have industry sectors, make sure it's assigned to the correct one. And also make sure under content that the case studies landing page is called a resource list. All right. You may come across some case studies pages that need to be added as the resource type needs to be changed to case study. All right. So like I said, this is Zematic, and they only have one resources section, so you can see the difference between having industry sectors. And when I go to their contact page, there's no checkboxes because we didn't assign anything as an industry sector. But they still have these different areas. Now notice they have a section called Finance Program as well. And you can add other page types, other templates here. They don't have to be just articles or photos, literature, case studies. You can add it. This Finance Program is a standard text and image page. So you go to Do Stuff, Edit Site Main under Menus, and I'm going to click the plus button to open my resources. And you can see I have my videos, my blog, my case studies, literature, articles, photos, and Finance Program. And you can just go highlight over resources, click Add Subpage, and add the type of content that you want. So if it's just a text and image / slideshow page that you need, you just add that, and that's what I did there for Finance Program. Also, if you don't want to use any of these, or you want to, when you're going live, you're not ready for all these, just publish the ones that you have content and are ready to use. And if you don't, you're not going to use them, you simply go click on that page and change the status to unpublished. Or preview if you want to be able to see it when you log into the CMS, but unpublished so it won't show up at all. Okay. The other content type, I'm back at the Turkey, Lindsay Turkey, where they do have those industry sectors, so there's 2 resource sections. And let's look at the photos. Alright, so photos also have the options for categories. Right now this one doesn't have any category set, but I've uploaded a couple test photos. When you click on it, it's going to open up a larger version, and you can click through to the difference. It's going to actually display the actual size of the photo, so keep that in mind. You don't want to put something that's bigger than your site in there, because then it will push out beyond the width of your site or height. And you can click through as you add these. See, it's just going through 1 and 2. And the user can simply click on this X to close it. I'm going to hit Escape. And you can see here, go to Content Edit for this particular photo. You give it a name. In this case, because it's Lindsay Turkey, I assigned it to the Irrigation Solutions industry sector. And you can select categories. Now, notice that it has no category selected, and that's why there's no category showing up above the photos. Both of them are like that. And I simply just uploaded the image right here. So you click that Browse, find your your photo, and upload it. I'm going to hit Cancel here. And you don't need to fill out any of the content, but you probably do want to put a sort order so that they'll display in the order that you want the photos. Okay, and these are uploaded images. You want to upload each one of these for your photo section. Okay, also once again, I can edit the actual photos landing page if I want to have some content that talks about maybe the use of these photos. I would just put it in this content field. Also under here, this is use custom template for photos instead of a resource list. This wants to be a photo list. Same for your videos. If it's a video page, make it sure it's a video list. And under metadata, make sure that it is, and this one's not right now, set to photo under the resource type. And once again, this is associated with the Irrigation Solutions. Okay, so you can see that test content I just typed is showing up here if I want to have some intro text above my photos. I could have categories of different photos, and each category will have its own little, open up a large one and click through to see the different ones. Okay, and last but not least, your blogs. And blogs are handled just a little bit differently because they have their own section in the CMS. And I'm going to go to Do Stuff. And instead of going to Content like I do for the rest of my resources, there is a section here called Blog. And you have a Find By option. You can go in and just find the blog. And you can see it will display all your blog posts. You can click Add a Post, click on the CMS ID to edit an existing one. You can copy an existing one from here by simply selecting Copy here. I'm not going to do that right now. And you can also edit your blog settings. Okay, now your blog settings, this is where you're going to go in and you name your blog. And one cool option that you all have here is you have optional comments. So if you don't want to have to deal with comments, you go under your tools for your blog settings. And let me close out so you can see this. I'm going to hit the back button and I'm at the blog post under Do Stuff. And this is your edit blog settings. Click on that, go to Tools, and if I want to have comments, I click on that. And I can click Enter Comments, Notify Email. So whenever somebody leaves a comment, it will notify that individual. Okay, and you can put more than one email address in there, comma separated, but no space. All right, so I'm going to click Save here. And then if I want to add a post, I'll click Add a Post. And you have a title field, date and time, industry sector, if you want to assign it to that. In the case of Zematic, you would leave it blank, or there wouldn't even be an option for industry sectors because they haven't been assigned. You can categorize them as well. It's going to pick from those list of resource categories. Remember, the resource categories will only show up on a particular resource page section like case studies landing page or blog landing page if there's been that type of resource associated with it. So if there's a case study that's associated with that category, then it'll show up. If there's no case studies associated with these categories, they will not show up. And then you have an open field for your author name. Remember, abstract is the text that displays on any parent page in the navigation if that parent page is set to a list page. Okay, and then you have your content, which is your main content that shows up on the page, and your files where you can upload images, and your metadata as well. Okay. Now you do not have the option to delete blogs, and that's because we turn that off so that you don't accidentally delete your entire blog, not just your blog post, but your blog. And in this case, on Lindsay Turkey, there's two different blogs. Well, there's one blog, but you can assign them to the different sections. If you want to you can unpublish ones or just edit these test ones to create your blogs that you want. Okay. All right, I'm going to go under Irrigation Solution and Blog. And you can see those two test ones are showing up because they're assigned to this. All right, and I can go in, make sure that it's using the custom template, which is blog. And I've associated it with my Irrigation Solutions as well. And any intro content, you do it here on this page, not the blog settings, in the content section or content field. Okay, there's that intro content I just typed, and let's click on Mitch Test Blog. Now you can see the test text here displaying, and now there's also the option for comments. All right. If you don't want comments, remember you go back to Do Stuff, Blog. I'm going to go find by blog, edit blog settings, which is this link right below the blog post title. And this content does not show up anywhere, but you do control your tools here. And I'm going to uncheck this comments, click save, and that was, once again, let's go to edit blog settings, tools, that's the tools tab in the CMS edit screen for the blog settings, and you have a checkbox for comments, and that is to turn on or off your commenting functionality. We'll close out this Do Stuff interface. I'm going to go back to my blog, this time in transportation. There's a test transportation blog post, and no more commenting because I turned that off. Okay, I'm back at Zomatic, and you can see once again only one resources section. Click on my blog, and I'm going to go in and look at under content edit for the main blog content page. Go to my metadata tab, and I'm not associating it with any sub-content, so I would not be associating it with an industry sector because there's not. Speaking of industry sectors, like I said, you can use that for other areas. So it doesn't have to be just irrigation solutions or transportation solutions. I'm going to go look at barrier systems, and I need to clear my IP address for barrier systems. Let me find this. I'll put in the wrong URL. It's Barrier Systems Inc. Okay. And barrier systems, right now, they have one resource section under road safety products. However, I set up, you can see if I go to contact barrier systems, it's having, I'm interested in road safety products or movable barriers. And that's because I set up the two different main product categories as industry sectors. I assigned road safety products as one industry sector and movable barriers as another one. And all the resources under road safety products are assigned to the road safety products industry sector. And then under movable barriers, I needed to have a section called technical briefs under field service. So I click on my technical briefs, and you can just make this either a literature or case study, and I just changed the name of it. But when I go in the back end, it'll be either add case, in this case it was a case study, but this could be literature, articles, whatever you want it to be. I just changed it to technical briefs, and assigned it to the movable barriers industry sector. And that is how you can use a case study but call it something else. All right, that covers resources,